Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta in New Delhi's Nehru Park. Not a place that I know very well, but that my guest this week has frequented for many years. Harish Salve, welcome to Walk the Talk. And I know you are smiling. You are smiling for many reasons. Not the least of all being that you've lost 30 kilos of weight and you're feeling and looking 20 years younger.
Yeah.
You've won many legal battles. You have your new Padma Bhushan and many new ideas going ahead because we have a new government.
Very true.
And a new turn in India's political economy as well as sort of mindset.
That's right. That's the most important.
So, what exercises your mind these days?
It's India is at an inflection point, I've always believed. And I think hopefully we have seen behind us the caste politics which dominated us for over a decade now, predominantly. I mean, it's been there in the woodwork for a while. I think the noises notwithstanding, the public reaction to the kind of extreme, volatile, religious or regional talk is also very negative. And politicians know when to back off an agenda. So if they feel it's not selling, they will stop selling it. And so I think India is at an inflection point where finally development is becoming the linchpin of governance.
If I can be a lawyer at the other end, which is a risky thing to do with Harish Salve, that you say politicians back off when they know something is not working. The previous government did not back off when they found that povertarianism was not working.
See, politicians back off when they realize something is not working. Now the point is somebody has to make them realize it's not working. And that is where I feel, and this is peculiar to India, but then we are a country by ourselves, so we shouldn't worry about other countries. The media today is virtually decisive in what the politicians realize. I think they, in their free time, they watch TV instead of connecting with their electorate.
Or Twitter.
Or Twitter or whatever. And I don't think the media always romanticizes povertarianism. I'm sorry to say. Public sector is great in the media. Anybody who's making money is a bad guy in the media. And everybody privately aspires to live the good life, publicly condemns the good life. And UPA was romanticized by the media. The only place, in fairness, when the media banged the UPA was over corruption. Let me give you the Vodafone example, and I think that's the inflection point of India.
When you were Vodafone's lawyer?
I was Vodafone's lawyer, but when I stand back, and when the retrospective amendment came in Vodafone, and everybody said, oh, this is going to be a bad reaction. And I told myself, this is India, they will soon realize we don't react to this kind of stuff. I was delightfully wrong. We have had retrospective amendments in the past. And who cares? See the debate which followed Vodafone. You know, the day I was opening arguments in Supreme Court, there was a full pager on Times of India. If Vodafone pays up its tax, how many hospitals you can build? How many midday meals you can serve? That is romanticizing povertarianism, according to me. And when the retrospective amendment came, yes, the economic channel said, maybe investor sentiment, etc. What about your regular feedback? The feedback you gave the government initially was, it's okay, who cares? I remember we had a senior Congress leader who came and said, and you know him, I won't name him, who came and said, these fellows who earn black money, obviously he doesn't understand the difference between black money and
money.
And money. He said, these fellows should be taught a lesson. And if you remember the then finance minister, in his closing speech, when somebody got up, I think Piyush got up and said that, this is bad for FDI. The finance minister said, well, if it is bad for FDI, so be it. We didn't eat lizards before FDI.
Right.
Correct. See how India has reacted thereafter. We are now becoming alive to the fact that there is a world outside and we need the world outside.
So how will you deal with the Subrata Roy case? Because he also has been brazen. And there is an issue there. And there is a general impression that he's got the system under his thumb. And that's the reason nobody's brought him to book so far. That's why he has zero popular support. He has zero sympathy. Nobody feels sorry for him.
See, the problem today, Shekhar, is the small screen has become the judge and jury of everything.
Mostly executioner.
And now also executioner. So, if on the small screen Subrata can't defend himself, the system doesn't defend him. And I'm afraid, I confess that the fact that these perceptions do not affect the final decision making is a legal fiction. They do affect, is my feeling as a lawyer. These are the, these are the silent premises.
How will you deal with him? How will you get this money out of him of so many ostensibly depositors?
Now see what has happened. It's a very curious thing. Our system is established today, that it is incapable of dealing with this problem. The SEBI said this man should have listed his scrip. This man said, I don't have to list the scrip. This matter reached the Supreme Court. Everybody decided against him and said the scrip should have been listed. A larger issue arose in Supreme Court. Whose money is this anyway? Supreme Court said if you have collected the money without listing your scrip, return it. Now all this is going out on return it. While SEBI is saying return the depositor's money, the income tax is appearing in Supreme Court and saying, but you can't return this money because this is his black money, so we are entitled to attach it. So Subrata's lawyers are saying, make up your mind. Is this Subrata's money, in which case the SEBI is wrong? And if the SEBI is right, the income tax is wrong. Where do we go? So, you see, this kind of thing shows we are as in government, as an institutional whole, doesn't know how to deal with this man. Yes, he is unpopular as he is, and maybe for good reason. But the government doesn't know how to deal with him. The legal system has passed an order saying return this money. They have set up a machinery. I believe of the money which they have recovered, a small fraction, a few hundred crores has been distributed. They don't know where to go. So everybody is now painted in a corner.
So it may end up being a life sentence
now
with this stalemate.
Yes, now this man is saying, I'm trying to raise the money, I'm not trying to raise the money, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He has spent 1 year in jail. And this is my personal take on this. The first, पहले तो इज्जत जाती है when you go to jail. फिर तकलीफ होती है when you go to jail. After 1 year in jail, I don't know what his mindset is. Maybe he's daring the system and saying, let me see it. I don't know.
Judges get lectured to by the Prime Minister as the other day on of succumbing to 5-star activism.
Well, I must say, choice of words was for the Prime Minister. He's an eloquent speaker. His sentiment is something which needs all right-thinking people to sit back and consider seriously. What happens is the court lacks the equipment, unlike executive government, to decipher agendas. Secondly, when you start dealing with agenda-driven people use you as an instrument. Let me give you an example. When we used to do the Narmada Bachao Andolan case, I was appearing for the Gujarat government. So I was the bad guy.
Always for the dirty, bad, filthy corporates.
Yeah, I've been for the bad horrible fellows.
Yes.
We told the Supreme Court, look at it this way. These guys go and yank trees out, which you are doing for part of your rehab program. Replanted trees in the catchment treatment, and then file a petition before you saying stop the dam because the catchment treatment is incomplete. The answer given was, removing those trees is our right to protest. You judges, you deal with the law. Now, the Supreme Court entertained that. For years, the dam was stayed, till finally that judgment came. So what I'm saying is this agenda, there are some agendas against multinationals on genetic testing. I think the court is ill-equipped to deal with these problems. There are some big corporate matters. I won't go into any details because I'm appearing in those. But I'm telling you, I feel the difficulty in people dealing with it.
So you have sympathy with the Prime Minister's view. Language is his, as you say.
See, you can put it in different language. Lord Laws gave a beautiful speech. He's one of the finest minds. He's one of the old soul scholars from Oxford. And he's now in the Court of Appeal. He gave me a copy of a lovely speech he gave, where he said, why should judicial review stay away from areas of policy and governance? His argument was, judicial review and the role of a judge is logical. Governance is empirical and experimental.
Very true.
Correct? That's
And governance is always give and take.
Correct. And experimental governance is matched by public accountability. You come, you experiment with your policies. If you don't work, 5 years later, out you go. And there are other public ways, including public opinion, which contains wrong decisions. You cannot look at the economic cases which have come, look at the coal case which has come. And I criticize this in court and I will criticize this outside court. The Supreme Court cancelled a whole slew of mines. There were cases which, yes, they were my clients. I told the court. I said, you haven't heard us. You have gone by the screening committee and damned our client. Look at the fate of a client. There is a government whose credibility is seriously in question. That's why you're doing all this. A person goes to the government. He says, go to the state. He goes to the state, he gets a letter from the state. He comes back to the union. Union tells him, go to the screening committee. He goes to the screening committee. 1,200 pages of statistics, details, materials are placed before the screening committee. The screening committee makes an allocation in one paragraph. When the government is asked on what basis was this done, they said, "Hamare paas kuch nahi hai. We don't have any papers." Right. Ask the man, he would have produced those 1,000 pages. Yeah. You tell him, we will not hear any private party, but we will cancel their allocations. That person up till now has been given green strike, so he has gone and spent 180 crores in acquiring land for reforestation because he needed forest permission. He has gone and acquired surface rights, which is not easy in India with the current mood. And when he is ready to start mining, you tell him, sorry, screening committee didn't give proper reasons, out you go. Why did the government not produce all the material? I had a sinister reason for it, and I said so in court, and I'm saying so on TV. Maybe out of the 50 allocations, for 45 you had materials, for 5 you didn't.
You did. And to protect yourselves on those 5,
you said, I have nothing. Where did those 1,000 pages or representations go? Must have been in somebody's file.
Right.
So, see, now, the Supreme Court follows these kind of shortcuts. The judges felt the case was too huge. If we hear everybody, it will take too long. Somewhere along the way, the rule of law suffers.